And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Bud Elliott. That's Danny Kanell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/Cover3 and everywhere you get your podcast on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 Tailgate, where they are proposing a Lincoln Riley for James Franklin swap. Is that another everyone's? Yeah, I was going to say, is that another everyone's mad?
That does feel like everyone's mad, but yeah.
Yeah, well, hey, listen, lots more to get into as we continue to diagnose what has been a rough post-mortem for Penn State after losing at UCLA over the weekend. They've got Northwestern coming up this week. Plenty more to look at in terms of the Nittany Lions moving ahead. We also are going to continue to take a look at just a bigger, deeper dive into not just what happened, but let's look ahead. How about some college football playoff projections, our brilliantly boring wins of the week, and so much more. But let's not waste any more time, because before we get into upon further review, we've got to check out what happened at the poll. New AP Top 25 does, in fact, have a little bit of some shifting up top. Now, Ohio State did hold on to that number one spot, but Miami jumped ahead of Oregon and swiped a lot of first-place votes. The Hurricanes now with 21 first-place votes. The Oregon Ducks with just 5. That is very different from the coaches poll, where Ohio State remains 59 first-place votes, just 3 for Oregon, 3 for Miami. Ducks stay in the second spot. So the voters, the media is all about the U. Ohio State, again, that gap is narrowing. Got some CBS Sports 136 information as well to be able to share with you. Now, one of our debates from tomorrow's Top 25 on Saturday night was, would the AP Top 25 voters drop Texas and Penn State all the way out? Would they instead just, kick Florida State and Iowa State to the curb? No. Iowa State, you stay in. Florida State, you stay in. Texas and Penn State, your combined 0 power conference wins. You are out of here. Danny Kanell, you're clapping your hands.
Give them a round of applause.
Yeah,
I feel like our campaigns have been heard. I feel like this is making real change, real progress in the college football landscape, when this is exactly what you're supposed to do. Now, I do think it may be a little bit late to the party, because if you would have asked the same question before those games, you would have had the same answer. How many teams from the Power Four have either Texas or Penn State beaten? And the answer is 0, but it was 0 before these games. And I think this is actually a step in the right direction, because I don't know if this happens a couple years ago, but you are not supposed to give teams the benefit of the doubt based on their preseason perception or the preseason speculation. So I think this is a good move. And if you're a Texas fan or a Penn State and you're like, screw those guys, why do they have this campaign against our schools? Go win some games and we'll put you back in. You can earn your way back into the top 25. Both you guys have more than ample opportunity to do so. Once you do that, you can work your way back in. But I think this is a big step in the right direction from the voters. Although you do look at the amount of people that kept them in there, and it's kind of a little bit of a head scratcher. But for the most part, the fact that they did drop all the way down from 7 to 9 is, I think, a step in the right direction.
Top half of the poll, I'm pretty okay with. Bottom half of the poll, I have some issues this week. Memphis has no quality wins. They have wins.
They've got more power conference wins than Texas or Penn State do.
Sure, it's Arkansas. Arkansas is garbage.
That's a power conference team.
At least they played somebody. Is an SEC team? At least they played somebody.
All right, BYU has no good wins at all. BYU fans, for some reason,
how many losses do they have?
Some reason to hate me. Y'all's schedule is garbage so far.
They've got 3
how many losses?
How
many losses?
Yeah, ECU's like an American Conference contender.
So we're just as pollsters rewarding people for playing garbage schedules and not losing.
No, we're rewarding people for winning games
against nonsense.
And but that's why Texas and Penn State
it's not who you play, it's how you play. And BYU is playing nobody and treating them like nobody. They're beating them.
And speaking of playing nonsense,
they beat Colorado by a field goal. But
it's a conference game.
Also, but speaking of nonsense, Penn State and Texas, their schedules have been garbage. Now, if you want to argue Texas, they played Ohio State, but that argument doesn't work for Penn State. Their schedule is the worst in the country. They haven't beaten anybody. Texas, I could see if you wanted to hang on to them and say, well, at least they played Ohio State. But then we're talking about good losses, which I cannot stand talking about good losses.
Yeah, but if we want to have better games to watch in the sport, then we need to be able to recognize good performances independent of what the final, if you go to double overtime with somebody, the team that wins gets all the credit and the team that loses gets none for trophy purposes at the end of the year, certainly. But for evaluation purposes, if we're making a poll, you got to recognize a good performance against another good team.
What does a ranking have to do with a game being good?
Because you want to actually see decent games being scheduled. BYU is getting rewarded for crap non-conference scheduling.
But at least they played.
So you need to see Alabama BYU in week 1? You
no,
consider that a good game? You think they suck? You just said so.
At least play somebody.
They have.
I think their resume to this point sucks. I don't know if they sucked. I think they're just like a slightly below average P4 team.
But they're 5-0. They can be ranked 20th or wherever they're ranked. It's not a big deal.
Memphis has a lot of good games coming up. I think Memphis is getting pre-credit for this. Memphis is going to play USF. They're going to play Tulane. They're going to play Navy. Those are actual games coming up. I don't really see,
South Florida's got a power conference win.
They do.
Yeah.
That should count for something.
Right. Yeah, that was essentially the decision. Memphis, USF, you are in. Texas, Penn State, you are out. And that's that's the pretty clean math there.
How was Cincinnati under Iowa State?
Well, because Iowa State was ranked higher last week.
They blasted Iowa State. Their only loss is a single score game to open the year at Nebraska.
But I told you that the Nebraska thing was going to be difficult because Nebraska's not getting any credit.
Look, Iowa State should not be ranked.
I would flip-flop Cincinnati and Iowa State. I'd be totally okay with that.
I would be fine with that, too.
Okay.
Notre Dame should not be over FSU. Both have a single score loss to Miami. Florida State beat a top 8 team, I guess, now by 2 touchdowns. Notre Dame has no good wins.
That's a fair gripe. I mean, what's happening is Notre Dame lost at the right time.
Yeah.
They got all their losses out of the way, and now they're just gonna sit here and just climb up. They're sitting there, and they're at the DMV, and their ticket said D95, and everybody else is quitting because they've got to go pick up their kids from school. Notre Dame childless. I guess that's weird for Notre Dame, but Notre Dame's just sitting there, and they're like, hey, well, I'm just gonna keep on moving up and up and up and up, and sooner, they're gonna be a top 10 team by the beginning of November.
That was just catching strays over here.
I
you know what? I just want to talk about the people who still voted for Texas.
Okay. Let's go.
First of all, I think it's great
that troll god.
We are influencing people so strongly that they're actually doing what we've been complaining about and getting Texas and Penn State out. And I think it's great that a media company is finally using its influence for good instead of stupid nonsense. But Kirk Kenny still has Texas 13th, despite them being, 3-2. He has Notre Dame 7th. He's clearly a power rater. If you go through his poll, I could see this being a power rating more than it is like a ranking of resumes or anything. Penn State's 16th, just whatever. Fine. People are going to do it. I really disagree with it, and I just don't like it, but, that's what he does. I will go to one of our friends, though, our old friend, who will not explain her process or anything, and it's really not a big deal.
Man, again?
But Haley has Texas 16th, and she has Florida State 18th. I don't know how you can rank Texas ahead of Florida State if you're going to rank both. But where things get...
I think I can explain this.
Okay, well, where things get even worse is she's got Penn State ranked 24th. So why is Texas 16th if Penn State's 24th? Because you're clearly ranking Penn State 24th because they haven't beaten anybody. And they lost in double overtime to a national title contender, and they lost as a 4-touchdown favorite on the road. Whereas Texas is lost by a touchdown to a title contender, and they lost to a Florida team that was 1-3. And we all know there is a huge difference between being 1-3 and 0-4. So how is that an 8-spot difference? Like, I don't have any idea how you put Florida State behind Texas if you're going to rank both. But the idea that Texas is 8 spots ahead of Penn State, when you clearly put thought into where you were putting Penn State, how does that same logic not apply to Texas?
Well, I think I have solved this mystery.
Okay.
You know how you have
let's go, Nancy Drew.
All right. You know you have the Bermuda Triangle where stuff just disappears?
Right.
I think Haley has like a Gainesville Triangle where just whatever happens inside Ben Hill Griffin Stadium does not, like, it just doesn't get broadcast to wherever she lives. Like, it's like, remember, like, let's go back 2 weeks ago, right? It was the USF Florida thing. Like, sometimes you just don't get certain channels in certain hotels on your TV, right? Maybe Haley just doesn't get any games that happen at Ben Hill Griffin. Like, that to me makes the most sense here. If you plug that logic in, everything else holds.
You know what? You're right.
I think you're right.
I think Bud's right.
No, we've got to triangulate this. All right. We got to get some.
Maybe games will wear camo. Like, she just can't see it.
I mentioned earlier there's an interesting CBS Sports 136 angle to this. The new CBS Sports 136, our comprehensive ranking of all FBS teams, has posted on CBSSports.com. There is a definitive top tier. It is, not a very controversial. What it is interesting. Ohio State held on to the top spot, the number 1 spot. Their average ballot ranking was 2.1. Miami jumped into the number 2 spot. Their average ballot ranking was 2.2. Oregon is at number 3, giving up a spot. Their average ballot ranking is 2.3. That means that across our voters, there's zero consensus about the order of these 3 teams. Whether you have them Ohio State, Oregon, Miami, or Miami, Oregon, Ohio State, like all the different combinations that you can put out there, you've probably got them across these different ballots. Definitive gap between those top 3 and the rest of the top 10. But man, that's that is, I think, a fun spot to be in, where you're not seeing as much, groupthink. We have a smaller body than the AP top 25 voters, but this is a real fun debate between those 3 teams in terms of who's going to be the best team in the country.
Totally agree. I think you could make a real strong case for any one of them. I felt this going in, like, after the game, after watching what Miami did, after kind of seeing everything unfold. I was like, oh, these 3 have separated from the field. How big is the gap between the next ones, and who do you think belongs in there? Because I think Alabama is probably right on the heels, even with a loss to Florida State, but the way they're playing now, I think A&M is playing really good football. I'd be willing to have a conversation about them. And Texas Tech is quietly just humming along, and they had a really impressive win against Houston. I think that's another team that I'd probably go with. And what's crazy is Ole Miss, I put them like at the bottom of that second tier, but some of those teams I think are closer to closing the gap too.
Texas Tech is the most interesting one because of the way that it projects. Where, I mean, Bud, what do we look at? Double-digit favorites in every game?
Probably pretty close. I mean, I don't know, man. In the world of college football,
right?
No, they won't be double digits, but they're like a touchdown probably than most.
Connolly's got them at 38% to win the Big 12, and no other power conference has a race with a heavy favorite like that at this point in the season.
Not Miami?
I don't think so.
I think Miami's a bigger favorite to win the ACC than Tech is to win the Big 12.
The
right now, Miami is
by the Vegas odds. I could be wrong. I need to check
right.
this.
Vegas odds has Miami minus 210 to win the ACC, and Texas Tech minus 105.
I don't think Connolly will, because he's using SP Plus, and in his SP Plus, Texas Tech is number 4, whereas Miami's number 12. So, like, he would have Tech as a 3.5 point favorite over Miami on a neutral.
I kind of think Miami's in some ways like taking their foot off the gas a little bit too early in the FSU and Irish games, to be honest.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like I
they
think
they're the reverse of the number trickers. You got some coaches that run up the score in the fourth quarter, goose the power ratings, and Miami's like, no.
Yeah, like you couldn't give FSU credit for like not quitting, I guess, but like that game wasn't close.
Dude, Danny was so hyped about that.
I don't think the Irish game was either. I think they took their foot off the gas there. Yeah.
I was
right.
seeing visions of the choke at Doak, Tom. We were coming all the way back. It's a good thing the new clock rules are there. We would have.
Danny, before we hit a break and keep this thing rolling, take us through. It's obviously tough game. I mean, tough start to the game, tough game, but the game itself, and then of course just sort of like your favorite. We were able to give some time to the live show, some things.
Yeah,
highlights.
It was phenomenal. It was great. The Madison Social Show was awesome. Appreciate everybody that came out to that one. The game itself was not so awesome. I will say, because I'm torn, I totally understand when you're like Miami dominated, but we're also a lot of self-inflicted wounds that Florida State brought on themselves, which you cannot afford versus a team like that. That was my take. We have to play really good, cannot make those mistakes if it's Florida State wants to come out with a win. The analytics stuff, I know what you're supposed to do. I know there's a card or there's a book and it tells you what to do, but when you're only down 7-3, and you have a 4th and 8 on the 41-yard line, and you decide to go for it, and I get if you throw an interception there and it's just downed, like it's probably the same as a punt. I just felt like that was such a huge momentum shift because you threw the interception, they get a big return, and the next play, Carson Beck throws a one-play touchdown pass, and boom, it's 14-3, and it's like, what just happened? And I don't know. I was talking to a lot of the people on the sideline, a lot of coaches, not on Florida State staff, but people associated were like, man, why did we go for that? And it's easy to second guess. And Coach Norvell usually goes by the book, and he did against Bama, going for it on 4th down, and he gets it. So everybody's saying that's a great call. I just felt like if you could have made Miami go for it and drive the length of the field, maybe it works out a little bit differently. Maybe you're in that game. And even still, looking up at the scoreboard, it's 14-3 at half. It felt like it was way bigger, and yet you're only one possession, and then you had a Castellanos interception. They scored. It's 21-3. I don't know. A couple things in the game, coaching-wise. They went for the onside kick after the first score to make it 28-11. I thought that was really early to go for the onside. They don't get it. Miami has a short field. Then they punt you back, and it took forever. That drive took forever. I don't know. There were some coaching things in there that I didn't love, but I don't know. It is. And I get it. Like Miami, it did feel like they could have called their number, but they did call off the dogs. It's what they do. And I was glad of the way Florida State fought back and at least made it look respectable, because I think that might matter at the end of the season.
So one, I love the call to go for it there. I think like, you're what are you 20%, 25% to convert that, and like the field position value you're gaining by sticking them on average at, like, let's say like the 12. Right. Like that's not a super easy punt to punt from the 41. It's not something you practice a whole lot. Like the payoff is so worth there if you're trying to win the game. If you're trying to just avoid, like to play damage control and not get embarrassed, you punt the ball. But I do think Norvell coached to win there. Do you think Mario called the dogs off because he knows he kicks Mike Norvell's ass in recruiting and wants to keep him in Tallahassee?
No, I don't, because he was furious. Like, how many times did the camera have him screaming at his players, focus. Like he could see his team keeping that door open instead of slamming it shut. He saw the opportunities in the game to twist the knife, and the fact that Miami was screwing around, I think that he would have much rather run it up, and Miami's own execution errors were prevented.
He would have liked to run it up.
That's not my theory, by the way. Like, it's a joke Florida State fans who are frustrated to have, because they know that Mario's that staff just outworks FSU staff in recruiting.
Call me old school, Bud. I would have taken the delay of game and put it back to 4th and 13. You're back from the 46, because I thought that's what they're going to do, because they weren't ready to run a play, and then they called timeout, and I was like, they're gonna go draw up a play, aren't they? But again, it's second guessing.
It's an interesting play they ran too. If you watch it, like basically what they're doing is they're having Castellanos fake, like he's looking at the sideline and take the no look snap. And if he throws,
if he would have put a tighter ball on him, it was open.
He's just not a good thrower of the football. Okay, like if you're going to throw the ball 25 plus times in Gus Malzahn's offense, you will lose games. It's not any kind of special passing scheme. It's very rudimentary. It's all off the run fake stuff. That's really kind of what. No, Raymond in the chat, not outspend FSU. It's outwork. I guarantee you. Like the quality of recruiter on the staff, like the gap is big. I think Miami has a little bit more money than FSU. I think they have a lot better recruiting skill in the coaching positions. I've said that for 6 years now. Like, sales is a skill. You have good salespeople, you have bad salespeople.
Yep. All right. Coming up on the other side, we will take a look at the college football playoff picture and go under the hood with a little pun further review. Last chance to take a look at week 6 and more. Next.
Only CBS Sports can bring you big time during the heart of Saturday afternoons. It's big time.
It's big time. It's big time. It's big time.
On CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. And now it's time for the brilliantly boring wins of the week, brought to you by PNC Bank, where we highlight the boring actions that make the biggest difference. Slow and steady isn't just a saying, it's a proven strategy. Consistent, deliberate financial decisions help build a strong financial foundation and lead to the most meaningful wins. There is no need to chase risky ventures or fall for quick fixes. At PNC Bank, they help keep your money simple and stable so you can live with the confidence that your future is on solid ground. And gentlemen, as I was looking back at week 6, I was thinking about the meat and potatoes. I was thinking about what you can do to win football games and handle your business. I was thinking about playing great defense on third down, and I was thinking about running the football successfully. And that's where the Texas A&M Aggies and the work that they did against Mississippi State on Saturday really stood out. It was Texas A&M 31. It was Mississippi State 9, but Mississippi State's offensive woes were in great part to the way that Texas A&M defense was playing. They limited the explosive plays. They limited the third down success, and it was Reuben Owens with a fantastic performance, 142 yards on the ground. You go and you get another 30 yards rushing from Marcel Reed. You go and you get some more rushing from Casey Concepcion and Le'Veon Moss. Like, even not being able to make an impact in that game, you've just got that big stable of skill position players. Danny, from the defense to the ground game, we talked about Texas A&M. Are those some of the reasons you're looking at the Aggies as a team that could really make some noise in the SEC?
Yes. Mike Elko's taking over the defense. They look so much better. Depth at the skill position. You remember Owens coming off the bench. The additions in the portal with wide receiver make them really dangerous. Marcel Reed backed it up, said he was going to be a better passer this year. He has been. You can make a really strong case that Texas A&M is the best team in the SEC.
That's right. And those were the brilliantly boring wins of the week, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Brilliantly boring since 1865 is a service mark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC. All right, now one thing we're going to be adding to our plate is, now that we've gotten into October and we are less than a month away from really starting to get the official rankings releases from the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, it is going to be taking a look at the college football playoff picture. If you follow us on the socials, you've seen that Bud Elliott has been putting together his college football playoff projections each and every week and sharing that with you. But there's also, let's dive into the talking points here. Bud, as you look into your crystal ball, what's really stood out in terms of the CFP picture moving forward?
Yeah, so every week when I run my model, it kind of gives me something a little bit different. But this time I had 6 SEC teams making it and none of them getting a bye, which kind of reflects, I think, what we're seeing. We're seeing a lot of good SEC teams. SEC is very clearly the deepest conference this year. It has like the best top half, but I don't think it has the best top, right? We're seeing Ohio State and Oregon look really good so far this year. I think Texas Tech and Miami will go undefeated. And I really don't think if Oregon and Ohio State get to the Big Ten championship game undefeated, that either of them will be punished for playing in that game by having them lose a bye. So I have the SEC champion not getting a bye in this scenario, but I do have the SEC getting 6 teams in because I think the Big 12 and the ACC are and should be one bid leagues if those favorites hold serve.
You think there's some outrage there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, at least based on what we've seen on social media, but like I don't see how like a 2-loss Bama, if they're the SEC champion, how they would have a resume over a 12-1 loser of the Big Ten championship game.
Unless they've got more wins against teams ranked in the committee's top 25, which you could reverse engineer with a bunch of SEC teams between 15 and 25 that aren't going to make the playoff. Like we could see some 7-5 teams inside that final top 25 to justify decisions made at the top.
I don't think you're going to go 7-5.
Yeah, no.
I would buy 8-4. Like they might sneak an 8-4 in, but I don't think a 7-5. Like an 8-4 Florida, I think probably.
Did you
like,
say
will
6 SEC teams or 5?
6.
There's zero chance 6 are getting in.
I mean,
it's not as impossible as you
I think it's very possible.
Yeah.
Like have Michigan screw around and lose a game it shouldn't, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, here's like one thing we didn't discuss. Like with Penn State losing this weekend, I still believe in Indiana, but there's the chance now that the Big Ten only gets 2 teams in. Like if Indiana falters, like they get absolutely beaten down by Penn State because they do have to play Penn State and they lose to somebody else, I could see that happening. What I'm not nearly as confident on though is the SEC not getting one of the buys. Like in my project, in my 5 check this week, I had Alabama as the 3 seed because I just feel like if they do go 11-2 and they win the SEC, and there are 5 SEC teams in the field, or maybe 6, they have played Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, LSU, Oklahoma. Odds are those teams would be in the field, and odds are Alabama would have beaten them. They've already beaten Georgia and Vanderbilt. So I just feel like with the way that they've rejiggered it, and we don't know how it's going to look yet because we haven't seen their ranking yet. So this new SOS metric that they're putting in, which the SEC was, clamoring for because they always have the higher SOS. Like I feel like that would probably earn the SEC champion if they go 11-2 a bye, no matter what. Even if the Big 12 champion's undefeated, or even if the ACC champion's undefeated, or if Oregon or Ohio State are sitting there at 11 or 12-1 because they lost the Big Ten title game. The way that this committee has worked, I just have a difficult time not seeing them give the SEC a bye, even if it's 4 seed.
Totally agree as far as how it gets rigged. I have a hard time building that in the model. But who do you see them leaving out of those 4? So undefeated Miami, undefeated Tech, undefeated Big Ten champion,
undefeated Tech. I mean, look what they did to the Big 12 last year.
They would hump a 2-loss SEC team over a 12-0 Big 12 team.
Yeah,
or 13-0 Big 12 team.
Iowa State, Arizona State, the Big 12 champion last year, was ranked behind 3-loss Alabama.
Yeah, but they had how many losses?
They had 2.
Right. We're talking about 13-0.
But if Texas Tech goes undefeated, what's its best win?
Probably smashing Utah.
But is Utah ranked?
Yeah, I think Utah will easily be ranked.
Okay, but I'm just saying, if you compare
they would treat them like Cincinnati. They would treat them like 2022 Cincinnati.
Like there's a very good chance that they've
2021
only got 1 or 2
Cincinnati.
wins over ranked teams.
That was still a power league versus a non-power league, right?
But we don't know how this SOS metric's going to work, and
That's
I'm
fair.
guessing that the Big 12 is going to be on the lower end of it.
Oh, it definitely will. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Has the model started to look at who Miami might be playing in Charlotte?
Yeah, there's a lot of Georgia Tech and UVA there.
Yeah,
just because the path is so easy,
and maybe Duke too.
Yeah,
I was gonna say Duke, man. They finally were able to get away from those tough non-conference games against Illinois and Tulane, get into that nice, soft, cushy ACC schedule, start looking like a juggernaut again.
A lot of Miami fans think that Miami's going to have an argument to be number 1, and I don't think that's going to be the case because I don't think they have the wins down the stretch to carry that for the committee. And whoever they play in Charlotte is not going to be anywhere near as good as the team that the Big Ten team is going to play in Indy.
Yeah, Miami does not need to cry right now about seeding. They need to win games after October 31st because Mario Cristobal from November on at Miami is 4-10. And I know you're going to tell me that, hey, one of those was a 5-7 year. One of those was a 7-5 year. But I'm just saying that 1-3, 1-4, 2-3 as your records from November 1st on over the first 3 years, finishing strong is the number 1 opponent for Miami right now.
But you know why Mario's record is so bad in November, right?
Oh, please.
Where does he go on Halloween? An escape room. Going back, like we talked about the Big Ten maybe only getting 2 teams in. I still think they get 3. I think Indiana's going to get through enough to where they're going to be the 3rd. But I'd like to know where you guys are on this. Who's your 4th team in the Big Ten right now after Penn State loses to UCLA?
Talk to me after USC Michigan.
Michigan.
Winner of USC Michigan. I'll come out of that feeling like they are up in the mix.
I think Michigan's odds are like more than double of USC's to make the playoff.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'll have more on it upon further review.
Ooh, that's a professional tease if I've ever heard one.
I might still back USC, but the path might be easier for Michigan.
USC was off last week. They're home against Michigan. They're at Notre Dame, and they're off again. So it's like by the time we get through this next 3-week run, we'll know. That's season's on the line right here. So it's a big time for the Trojans for sure. One last thing, Bud, here. If you were to look at that Week 7 schedule, just sort of from a college football playoff perspective, where are the gotta have it games? Which ones are the ones that you think hold the most CFP impact?
I mean, Bama, Missouri is a big one. If Missouri gets that one, I think you got to really start penciling in Missouri to the playoff, or at least really thinking about them.
Locked up for the playoff before you play a road game. What a life.
Yeah, dude. Seriously. I think it's somewhat important that Indiana does not get dump trucked by Oregon here. Like, I know they're a 10-point dog. If they lose by 17, whatever, it's at Eugene. But if they get crushed, which is possible, then that's probably trouble. Where else here? Kansas might be a little tricky for Texas Tech. Like Kansas has been playing some decent ball. They survived a weird spot at UCF over the weekend. Georgia's like a very short favorite at Auburn. If Georgia loses at Auburn, Georgia's not going to go to the playoff.
That was going to be my upon further review until you put 6 SEC teams into the playoff. I'm like, wait a second. I
can get 7 in.
The Georgia, I watched a lot of the Georgia game. This is not your same Georgia. Gunnar Stockton is becoming more of a liability. They don't have the defensive studs we've talked about before, like the Jordan Davis, the Jalen Carter, sort of those guys in the interior. I think the rest of the SEC has caught up with them, and several teams have passed them. And if you look at their schedule, I think there's a likelihood they're 9-3. And if they lose this weekend, which I don't think is crazy to say, they'll be 8-4. With Carson Beck, your old quarterback,
as
looking like the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
9-3, I think they're going to get in because they're going to play a likely, one-loss Georgia Tech team?
Well, I mean, I'm sorry. You think they're going to beat them?
Yeah.
They're worse than they were last year. They went to 1 billion overtimes with them last year.
That's fair.
And you're in the big body bins. Isn't Georgia bad in the big body bins? Doesn't Georgia have some nightmares in that building? I know I was in there for one nightmare. It's called 2nd and 26.
Yeah, but it's only against Alabama. They kill everybody else in the dome, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody who works in, I don't know if he wants me to ID him. He works in the sport. He's like, hey, are we underestimating how much the rule against like the late line shifts are impacting Georgia's pass rush? Because like Damon Wilson at Missouri, at least I haven't checked it today, but like entering the weekend had more pressures than Georgia's entire D-line combined. Like was Georgia scheming up pressures in, like the last 2 years with some of that kind of, I know a lot of coaches thought it was kind of gamifying the thing, and that's why they put the rule in to stop it, because they were trying to basically induce false starts and protection busts, which lower scoring. And we already had scoring lowered with the new clock rule. So I think the league smartly said, that's not good for the entertainment product, just to try to induce a bunch of false starts, right? But is that hurting Georgia more than we realized?
Maybe. I haven't really thought about it.
I hadn't either. I just think that's a pretty good point. Like their pass rush has dropped off a cliff.
I'm not going to use that as my first, second, or third reason of what's wrong with Georgia, but it is
they
certainly
picked the wrong guys to hold on to for sure.
In a game that is decided on the margins, especially at that level, it's definitely a very interesting point to bring up. Arizona State at Utah obviously is big for the Big 12 race from a college football playoff perspective, and from a seeding perspective for the Big 12 champion. That's going to be another one to keep an eye on. A little late night action out in Salt Lake City in front of my favorite student section in America.
Did you mention South Florida at North Texas?
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge game.
Huge game. All right. Coming up on the other side, we go under the hood. One last chance to look back at week 6 before turning our attention forward, and more next.
The crowd loves champions. Gladiator 2 is an epic spectacle. Remarkable! To amuse you is my only wish.
The glory is yours, not mine.
Very good. Gladiator 2, rated R. Now streaming on Paramount+.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast Mondays, one last chance to empty the notebook from the week that was before we spin it forward. It is fun for the review. There were terrible calls. Do we want to go ahead and jump in?
After further review.
All right, Tom. You said you mentioned that you had something that was burning on your chest. What are we thinking?
It's a rash. No,
Get that checked out.
Nah, it'll be fine. It'll go away. I went back, I rewatched Michigan, Wisconsin, because it was going on and other stuff. And based on what I'd seen sparingly when we were watching it live, I was like, this team looks much better in the second half. And rewatching it, I feel like Bryce Underwood played his best game as a Michigan Wolverine against Wisconsin. I thought that he was just very sharp with everything he was doing. There were very few mistakes. I think he took a sack that I feel like he probably should have avoided, but he's waiting too long. But other than that, I mean, Michigan's bigger problem in that game was they just didn't finish their drives in the red zone. They missed a field goal. They went for it on a 4th down and got stopped. I mean, in reality, it was more of a 34-10 game than it was a 24-10 game, which makes it look a little, different, like the 10-point swing there. And like we were discussing there in the playoff projection, with Penn State losing, I really think that kind of Michigan is the 4th best team in the conference with the way it's started to play these last few weeks. Like the Oklahoma loss was obviously, not great for them. They didn't look good in that game at all. But since then, I feel like that Nebraska win looks better as Nebraska continues to win. The Wisconsin game, the final score was a bit misleading. I just think that this is a team that defensively is really starting to figure things out. And I think Bryce Underwood's getting better and better every single week. And if that continues to be the trend, this is going to be a very scary team come November.
You texted me in the first half that you thought they were looking a little ordinary.
Yeah.
So it's the progression across the game, feeling good about it.
Yeah, I mean, upon rewatch, they did not look nearly as ordinary.
Again, like you were saying,
it was like a third screen, and it was like every time I was looking at it when it was going on live, I was just like, I mean, they were a little more conservative. They opened it up a bit more, I guess is one way to put it. But I just feel like rewatching it with fresh eyes and not paying attention to anything else, they looked a lot better than I thought they did on Saturday.
See, that's a great use of upon further review. You're multi-screening in the early slate, got a lot going on. You're trying to jump on. Yeah, we're just a little bit tired from Tallahassee. Get some fresh eyes, be able to dive into it. I like that a lot.
At some point, I do need their theoretical to become actual, and like actually like have it click and put the points up. Like I get what you're saying. I think Bryce is really, really good. The receivers are just wildly inconsistent.
Real quick, because I think I might make this I don't want to make this a giant piece, but just a fun game to play at this time of year before we really get into conference games and things start to balance out just a little bit. It's a little game. It's a little game called Good Team or Good Record. What have I identified? It's not like an obvious one. These aren't undefeated teams, but these are teams that sometimes we aren't, discussing them right off the top. And Tom, you just mentioned one of them. So I want to ask you all, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 4-1, good team or good record?
I'm leaning good record.
Is it okay to say decent team?
Yeah.
That's not an option. It's good team or good record. Look at this guy. He invents a game called good team or good record in 30 seconds, and he's like, yeah, we'll change the rules.
God.
Well, because you essentially you mean good record. If you say
I would lean towards both. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think they're a playoff team. I think they're a good team.
Bud?
I was just texting this guy that he said CBS is nothing in college football, and I was like, oh, well, bro, they don't ask how, they ask how many. So I was sending him an updated photo of the Apple charts. Which team? Sorry.
Nebraska.
It's bad podcasting, but good social.
Okay. So what was the answer?
No, what team?
Nebraska.
I think they're a decent team.
You're not allowed to say decent.
Okay, like Nebraska is clearly like not one of the 20 best teams in college football, but I think they're very much in that like next 10 to 12 range. Like they're clearly top half of the Power Four.
They are 4-1. Are they more good team or good record?
Oh, more good record.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next one. TCU.
I want to read off a stat.
Okay, go ahead.
I texted it to you guys yesterday, and I tweeted part of it. Lowest air yards per attempt by quarterbacks in wins against.
This is amazing.
Now, this happened. It was really windy in this game, okay? But Dylan Raiola had 3.1 air yards per attempt in the win against Michigan State. That's the lowest by any quarterback in a win. And what's funny is Dylan Raiola was at 4.1 air yards per attempt in the win against Cincinnati. So that is 2 of the 10 lowest against FBS teams by any quarterback in a win this year. So I just want to say, Nebraska fans, I see a whole lot of his completion percentage stats about how he's at like 75%. Let's add some context to that. He's throwing bubble screens, folks.
Did Nebraska, have they not seen the fruits of this incredible offensive change? Not? Now,
I think they have.
All right, hold on. Let's keep the game going. TCU Horned Frogs. They are 4-1. TCU, good team or good record?
Both.
I'd probably lean good team then for the purposes of this game.
Like I think TCU is better than Nebraska, but like not by much. So,
Tom,
good record. I mean, they're 4-1. Their wins have been North Carolina, who is atrocious, Abilene Christian, SMU, and Colorado. Their loss was to Arizona State. So they've played one actual quality football team. I mean, I guess SMU counts, but they've played one good, like top 25-ish caliber team, and they lost. It was on the road, and they only lost by 3. So I still think it's good record. If they keep winning and they stack up more against some better teams, then I will say good team. I mean, I love Josh Hoover. I don't know if it's a good team yet, though.
They did kind of kill SMU. For most of that game, at least like that counts for something for me.
I think
good
they're
team.
Good team.
Good team.
Good team. I would expect them to, like 5 games into the season, they're 4-1 to somewhat maintain that kind of clip and wind up at the end of the year, sitting around a 9-3 type season. That sounds right. I don't think that's different. Okay, last one. Good team, good record. The Tennessee Volunteers are 4-1. Good team or good record?
I think good team. I mean, they're pretty clearly one of like the 15 or 20 best in the country, right? I don't know how you don't say
they
that.
Clearly are.
Really?
I think all these teams are in a very similar tier. You need to see a little bit more to make them earn.
I think Tennessee's got a lot better players than everybody we've discussed.
Well, one of the Texas has got a lot of good players too.
Yeah, but like Tennessee's actually winning games.
I'm going to say good team because I would argue that loss to Georgia should have been a win. I think they outplayed Georgia for most of that game. They ended up losing by 3. I will say, though, I understand a good record declaration because they have lost to Georgia and their best win is Mississippi State.
In overtime.
Right. Tennessee is what? Like definitely a field goal over over all the teams we discussed?
Yeah, they'd be favored against every team we've talked in this segment.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't take any of these teams we discussed plus 3 points against them, right?
Yeah,
No.
I mean,
Would you take them plus 7?
Yes.
I don't know if TCU and Nebraska would have a chance to block Tennessee.
I don't think Nebraska would. I would take TCU +7 on a neutral.
Okay.
Danny? Good team, good record. Tennessee at 4-1.
Good record.
Are we not going to do BYU?
I think
We already know your answer on that.
Yeah, the full transparency here, the common thread, we're grabbing teams that we also just didn't spend a lot of time discussing, right? I mean, there are a lot of other 4-1 and 5-1 teams that we just hadn't. It just felt like they were floating below the radar. And I was like, okay, let's give them a little microscope. Good team, good record. That has been this edition of Good Team, Good Record. We'll bring it back next week and maybe one more time before things start to really even out, because the month of October is very much like the fire. It can expose all the flaws and burn out all the impurities. All right, let's see. Tom, did you want an Illini minute or did you got upon further review?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
This is upon further review of our bold prediction segment, which I usually ham it up a little bit just to give us some clicks and to go a little bit stronger than some of you weaklings in here. Take them real safe on your bold predictions. And there was a clip about the Miami Hurricanes not going bowling.
Oh, dear.
Has since gone viral from a lot of Miami Hurricane fans that are out there. So I just want to make sure that we know what happened in that one. That was like, all right, make your worst case scenarios. I was like, sure, I'll do it. Sign me up for that one. And then I get this little dweeb after the game on the field. Like, as I'm walking out there with my two daughters, we go out there and we're like shaking hands and we're at the midfield. I was looking for Castellanos and a couple of Florida State guys to tell them, hey, man, keep your head up. And this little guy's, I don't know, he's probably like assistant tight ends coach, or he's like a quality control guy, or maybe even it's an athletic trainer. And he comes up to me and he goes, I guess we're going to make a bowl, huh? Like that. I wanted to punch him in the face. But just so we're clear, I thought Miami was a really good football team. And now I think they're one of the best teams in the country. You have to take it with a grain of salt when we do our bold predictions, where you're willing to go out there on a limb a little bit.
I will point out, in our ACC win totals, one member of this show took the over on Miami.
Yeah.
You did.
One member had the foresight, the understanding of ball to know what was coming.
Have you guys looked at your win totals?
No.
I think I have the worst one. I had UNC over 7.5 because of schedule.
Hey, there's still time. They can get there, right? Yeah. They've only lost 4 games, right? If they win out,
I mean, I'm very happy with the vast majority of these. I think I'm going to go like 11-5, but like that one's bad, really bad.
Yes. Say it. Say what you're thinking. Say how you feel, brother.
It's not good, you know.
Can you do a dramatic reading of the letter?
Do it. Sure. Do you have the letter pulled up right now?
Yes. Would you like me to drop it in the private chat?
I mean, it's just we don't need to summarize it right now. It's the most tone deaf stuff ever.
Scroll down. I just want to hear you hit the growing up in Philadelphia.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I don't want Chip getting in trouble for speaking like an Italian when, you can get canceled for that. Growing up near Philadelphia, I resisted the urge to become a Phillies or Eagles fan. At the time, neither team was good, so my hometown bias wasn't tested as I roamed around the North Street playground. The other team, the one named after the Revolution, the 76ers, somehow captured my heart. Since my 11th birthday, this juvenile mistake has ruined my NBA watching for the better part of 55 years, minus the time my favorite coach and North Carolina alumni Larry Brown was in charge. However, through pain and disappointment can often come knowledge, as being a fan of the team gave me a valuable team-building lesson. When new general manager Sam Hinkie introduced his trust the process, philosophy in 2013, I was reluctant to embrace his formula of losing badly to win eventually. I hated it then, hate it now. Not competing to win games against every part of my sports executive philosophy. I felt Hinkie's method to rebuild the team was wrong. However, his messaging to the fans was brilliant. From his introductory press conference, everyone except me jumped on board. Hinkie's messaging made every fan feel part of the rebuild, which allowed them to feel a sense of belonging. He was simply exercising the second rule of leadership. Man, how long is this freaking letter? My God. Okay, I'm not reading the rest of this. What the?
No, okay, hold on. So this is the deal. This is the thing that is the most important, okay?
How long is this?
This letter, which
It's
is
Are they tanking? Are they tanking?
this
What's happening?
letter, which
No, it's
essentially
more, sorry.
said, we are going to suck. It's okay. We're building for the future, was sent before the Clemson game. Okay? This was like, don't worry, guys. It's going to be fine. And then do you know what was the very first play coming out of an off week at Clemson on national television? A procedural penalty. You had 2 weeks to prepare for the Clemson Tigers to come to your game, a game where you booked Ludacris as your pre-game concert. And the very first play from scrimmage was a procedural penalty. Hey, listen, Tom, I was over at my parents' house last night. They were at the game. Oh, God. They were like, yeah, we were in the sun, and looking at the sun was better than looking at the field. But my dad said on defense, I felt bad for the players because they were talking to each other. They didn't know what was going to happen. The players, with 2 weeks to prepare for the Clemson Tigers, were out there lost with no idea of what was going to happen. That is how Dabo dialed up a 75-yard wide receiver pass touchdown for play number 1. And the whole first half, it was just right down their throat. It is a sad, sad state of affairs. And it is, as I said on Saturday night, embarrassing because they're going to continue to get these big stages because of big old big brain Bill Belichick, and the whole world is going to see empty fans because you can send this letter to all your boosters and all your season ticket holders, and maybe the big money donors are still all the way in and they are going to buy trust the process. But you know what? A lot of the fans and a lot of the students are going to do, they are checking out and they are walking down to South Campus. They are walking right out and they are going down to the Dean E. Smith Center because even though the basketball team is not projected to be better than Duke, they're at least supposed to be up in the mix. Golly.
This pisses me off too because, like, you know, crap in the bed and still pulling huge ratings. That's our game, bro. Like you're kind of stop stepping on our turf, right? We're the time slot champs. This is.
I mean, trust.
I can't go through another year. You're taking money out of me and Danny's pockets.
I mean, he's the talking point that's supposed to keep you invested is we're going to sign 40 freshmen. Give us 4 years.
We're going to get some great draft picks out of this. The draft position is going to be phenomenal. Nobody's told them yet. They're tanking for draft picks.
I'm super skeptical of Lombardi, right? Like that, it's wild that's the guy running this. But I do think they made some, like, later in the cycle after that, I think they realized they screwed up some of the portal process pretty bad. They did make some guys who had actually done this in college before, and they hired them. And like that could, in theory, allow them to be better this coming cycle. Like, he's 73 years old. And we're making this one the one we're going to sign.
It's a long-term project, bud. He's only 73. He's got at least 10, 15 years in him.
I mean, it's just like your simple rating system, your SRS at College Football Reference. It's one of the worst teams in program history. Like, you go through in the modern era, your like offensive and defensive EPA per snap and per game, it ranks as among the worst Power 5 conference football performances that we've had since we began taking that as a statistic. I mean, the whole sleeping giant thing was about North Carolina teams that just couldn't escape the 6-6 and 7-5. And like what happened when you were just, I was running through all my spreadsheets yesterday, and I was looking fondly on that 45th spot, bud. You know, like when I was just so used to seeing North Carolina as the 45th best team in the country. It used to be so easy and fine. And you're just like, yeah, us in Arizona, you know, just sitting there with some like-minded. I mean, Wake Forest hired Jake Dickert, and Wake Forest looks more competent. Purdue and Barry Odom look way more competent. They got 70 new players too.
Yeah, but at least you're winning off the field by refusing to congratulate Drake May. North Carolina, Bill Belichick, I don't know if you've seen the reports. The staff and those guys are not allowing them to tweet anything positive about the New England Patriots. So when Drake May goes and beats Josh Allen on Sunday Night Football, North Carolina is not allowed to tweet anything about it, because that's how you're going to recruit those freshmen, by not telling them about your former quarterback who's now winning games in the NFL.
If the SEC really wanted to do ratings, they would just put a GoPro on Bubba and like have him at all the interactions with the guys who went over his head, because he was going to make a competent football hire, whether it was Matt Campbell or John Summerall or like somebody with a proven track record of knowing what the hell they're doing. And I mean, that just, yeah.
For the purposes of context,
I did not think it'd be this bad, by the way. Like, I'm not trying to be like, hey, I told you guys this was going to be a disaster. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, but like, oof.
North Carolina did end up tweeting a Drake May after our own Ross Martin was among those who was early on with the report about the silence. They also got the word out to those who they could that they sent a care package to Drake May recently, and they did less than a month ago tweet a Drake May highlight. But
did they send him rice and water? What do you mean they sent him a care package?
Like a little boy in college,
starving?
Noodles. Like a box, like Gruden's getting from everybody. A box.
They're airlifting and air dropping like little packages for Drake May. Please don't starve in Foxborough, buddy.
God.
Did they win last night?
Yeah.
Did you see who beat the Carolina account to post a congratulatory text?
Mac Brown.
Mac Brown. He
Mac
saw
Brown.
that. He's probably like,
Mac
let me
Brown
get
PR
on this
game is
right
unmatched,
away.
dude.
I miss that,
Politician Mac Brown.
Mac Brown would lose as a double-digit favorite to Virginia or Georgia Tech, but wasn't like this. Golly. All right. Yeah. You asked. What else? What else do we want to hit for a punt for the review before we get out of here?
I was going to do my Illini Minute, but I don't know if I want to follow that up.
Let's do the Illini Minute. Let's keep it Homer Corner.
Yeah.
All right. All right. I got to get Mike Lombardi out of my brain with his 1,400 word statement about how we're sucking on purpose. It's a big
deal.
Did
you word count it?
Yeah. 1,385 words.
Ridiculous.
Wow.
Come on,
bullshit.
this University of North Carolina, we don't read like that.
They don't write essays that long in North Carolina's like literature classes. All right. So, anyways, Illinois. There have been 210 games between Power 4 teams this year. Illinois has had 2 of the top 10 most explosive passing attacks of the season in those games, and they have been their last 2 games. They were at 36.4% against Purdue, which is tied for second in the season with Notre Dame against Arkansas, and 29.6% against USC the week before. And I bring this up because we are supposed to be a Luke Altmaier podcast, but fellas, we have abandoned our responsibilities this year because Luke Altmaier is 5th in the nation in passing efficiency. He's 2nd in yards per attempt. He's 7th in yards per dropback, and he has yet to turn the ball over a single damn time this season. Yet, if you look at the Heisman odds, he is 120-1 behind scrubs like Drew Aller, Arch Manning, and Garrett Nussmeier. He has the same odds as Tommy Castellanos and Jalen Daniels, a guy for a top 25 team, a contender for the playoff, who's one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the country so far this statistically. And one of the guys he's throwing to, Hank Beatty. 764 all-purpose yards, 5th in the nation. The man has caught 2 touchdowns. He has rushed for a touchdown. He has thrown for a touchdown, and he has returned a punt for a touchdown. When they send out your midseason All-America ballot in the next few weeks, and I know all these outlets are, if Hank Beatty is not your all-purpose first-team player right now, you do not know ball. You have never even seen a ball, and if I put a ball in front of your face, you'd be like, what is that? I have never seen one of those before. Hank Beatty's balling out. Luke Altmaier's balling out, and it's about damn time we start talking about them for national awards. Thank you. I cede the floor.
Listen, I will have you know that when I'm on HQ Spotlight looking ahead to Ohio State, Illinois later today, and of course, we submit our storylines, impact player to watch. We all know how the sausage is made here. This Illinois offense puts it all on Luke Altmaier, like whether it's from our run pass success rates, whether it's from our run pass splits, they are asking Luke to do the dirty work, and he is damn answering. So we will have shine for the Luke Altmaier podcast. Thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. You've done good service today. All right, anything else for upon further review?
So did you guys see how Arkansas State beat Texas State?
I sure did.
Yeah. All right. So 1st and 10. All right. Tie ball game 24-24. Texas State drives down. They get 1st and goal at the Arkansas State 3. Arkansas State has 2 timeouts left. Okay. There's a minute 1 left in the ball game. So given that there are 2 timeouts, right, you can basically drain this clock down, right? Play takes 5 seconds, take it down to 55. Timeout, play takes 5 seconds, take it down to 50. Timeout, take a knee, run it. Like you're looking at like 20 seconds left, right, on the clock, and you try to kick the game-winning field goal. Instead, Arkansas State correctly and smartly lets Texas State score. Texas does not go down. Instead, they decide to take the touchdown. Problem here is they did it immediately, and they missed the extra point. So they are only up 6, which means that in a game with neither side has a decent defense at all, Arkansas State has a pretty decent college quarterback in Jalen Raynor and a minute 1 and 2 timeouts to work with. And they actually don't need any of the timeouts on the drive, right, until the final play. They go down there, they score, kick the extra point, and win the ball game, upsetting Texas State.
Chip.
Yes. I know it's kind of like a weird feeling to take the knees there, but I mean, how often are you making those field goals? Clearly, and I get the irony that the kid missed an extra point distance kick, so it's not 100%, but from the 3, that's a high 90s kick in college.
Do I do it, Chip?
Let's list off GJ Kinney's.
Do I read the list?
Yeah, read the list. Yeah, this GJ Kinney, who everyone's trying to hire to all the Power Conference jobs. Let's hear his career wins as a head coach at the FBS level.
Yes, every time there's an opening like Arkansas or anywhere in that vicinity, the Texas football mafia starts pushing GJ Kinney. And I'm not trying to disrespect GJ. I don't think he's a bad coach, but they start pushing him for all these jobs. This is a list of the teams that GJ Kinney has beaten while he was the head coach at Texas State. Baylor, the year Baylor finished 3-9.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson State, Nevada, Southern Miss twice, ULM twice, South Alabama twice, Georgia Southern, Rice, Lamar, UTSA twice. I'll give them credit for that. That's some decent wins. Troy, Arkansas State, only once though, Eastern Michigan, and Nichols. He is now 9-8 against Sun Belt competition. Why are we constantly pushing this guy for like these bigger jobs right now?
Okay, a couple things. One, it is Texas State. Like that's certainly like not an easy program to win at. I think he has done a pretty good job there. He could definitely use like a game management dude on the sideline like Mario hired. That would be a good investment. And I think if you hired Kenny as a P4 program, you have to insist upon that as the AD. Like, hey, dude, you like to go fast, you like to call plays. You're actually really good OC. I think you've done a really nice job with personnel. Like the right tackle for Oregon came from there. Like they're good at identifying guys. There's a lot of good there, I think, when you view it through the lens of this is frickin' Texas State. But yeah, like
you need to beat the competition you're playing. Like you can't be 500 against Sun Belt teams and convince me that you are a value add.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean it's not like Troy has tremendous advantages, and Summerall ran that league for 2 years before he got the Tulane job.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's fair. But the Texas media loves to latch on to whatever
anybody from Texas.
The flavor of the month is in G5, right? Like they have their own magazine, and I think Dave Campbell's is cool, but like, if you have a whiff of success, you're going to start getting mentioned for any job in that region.
Everything's bigger in Texas, including the hype.
And the bloom's kind of off the rose a little bit for Jeff Traylor. If you look at his record without the quarterback, Frank Harris, it's nothing special. So again, that's not an easy job to win. It's not like, man, everybody wins at UTSA. I think the guy's probably a good football coach, but it does get hyped up a lot from the Texas-based media.
Keith Landry in the chat. Danny's currently looking up who that quality control for Miami was.
Scanning through to see his headshots.
I like the one where he said he was day trading real stocks.
All right. All right. Last call. We ran long, but that's okay. I think so. Okay. We got to get Danny off the CBS Sports HQ. Okay. We'll be back Tuesday, noon Eastern time. CBS Sports Network, as we get you set for a loaded week, awesome week of Big Ten football. Then we will be back on Wednesday, where we'll be doing big game breakdown, which will include a look at some of those games that we've got coming up, including can Texas get off the mat as they've got Red River on deck, Alabama, Missouri, and some other non-Big Ten action. Then, of course, Thursday for locks, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Bud Elliott 3. You can follow him at Danny Kanell. Follow me at Chip _Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.